Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
So today we will see about the failover routing policy and geolocation routing policy. Okay, so we have to start with failover routing policy. The simple routing policy was covered last time. So we have to start with the failover routing policy. What is the failover routing policy? Failover routing policy lets you route traffic to the source when the source is healthy, or to a different resource when a first resource is unhealthy. It means you have, let's say, two servers. If one server is failed, you are allowed to just deliver services through another server. So this is the meaning of the failover routing policy. So in this, we must have two resources to two resources. So what I'm doing, I'm creating the failover routing policy. Let's say failover routing policy. So in this, you have a primary instance. You have a primary instance, or you can say primary server, not instance. Let's say primary server you have, right? And you have a secondary server. Let's say you have two servers and both servers are identical, right? So why you have two servers? If one server fails, the another server will deliver the services. So there's the one server, right? And there's the another server. And we will connect the health check with the one server. We will connect the health check with the first server. And this health check will be reported to route 53. So let's say we have route 53. Let's say this is the route 53. Okay, this is route 53. If health check reports to this route 53, right? If this server fails, then only it will deliver the services through the another server, right? It will deliver the services through the other server. If the first server fails, this is called the failover routing policy. And in failover routing policy, if you want, you can take multiple different kind of resources. You can take load balancers. If it is possible, you can also take S3 bucket. The website hosted S3 bucket if you are dealing with the static website, and the load balancer can also be taken, right? So let's say I'm taking the two servers here, and with these two servers, we'll try to configure this failover routing policy, and we will check how actually the failover routing policy is working with route 53. If a primary server fails, how actually the secondary server will work. But before that, you need to just configure the health check. So first of all, we need to create two EC2 instances, right? You go and let me see. Yeah, go to EC2. I'm in North Virginia. You all are listening to me carefully. We have instances. How many instances we have? We have two instances, let's say, and both instances must be to different availability zones. So both are in the same availability zone. So what I'm doing, let's say I'm deleting this one. Let's say I'm terminating one, and I'm creating another instance in another availability zone. Let's say my secondary server, right? And this is Amazon. Good. And what the key you are using? Let's say you are taking this key. In the network setting, there's a default VPC. I'm taking the different subnet. Let's say B, I'm taking B or C, or you can see take D1. Okay. IP address is enable, and you need to add one more rule for, let's say HTTP traffic from anywhere, correct? And let's say this is the instance you are creating. The instance is created. So we have two instances. Now we have two instances. And the first instance that you have, go to tags and manage tag. Okay. So I already have, this is my primary instance. Let's say this is my primary server. This is my primary server. Okay. Let's say this is my primary server. You start the primary server and configure. So both servers, just configure both servers for website or as a web servers. So first of all, I'm just taking the remote of the secondary one. You go there, I just write sudo su hyphen and just write here yum install httpd hyphen y, this to be installed httpd, right? Then where www and html, and here you go. We don't have any file, so you need to just define, let's say echo, let's say this is my failover secondary server, right? This is index.html. This is done. And now system ctl and start httpd, right? And system ctl enable httpd. Done. I think this is great. This is done. So what shall I do? Can I just go to the and just IP address? Let me see the IP address is working or not. Let me see. Yes, the IP address is working. So this machine is working. This is my secondary. And in this way, I'm just going to configure my primary server as well. So first of all, I need to check its security group. So in the security group, we have inbound rules. You go to the inbound rules and see the port number 80 is allowed or not. No, the port number 80 is not allowed. So you just need to write a rule for HTTP from anywhere. So the first of all, this is to be done. Then once again, we'll go to the primary server and we'll take its remote and we will configure it as a web server. So I think all this you can do very easily. Sudo su hyphen and yum install httpd hyphen y, right? This is the installation of httpd. You can just write system ctl start httpd and system ctl enable httpd, right? And then just write where www and html, and here you can just write echo this is my failover primary server, and you need to just use index.html, right? This is done. You go back and just copy the IP address and just paste the IP address here. See, it is working. This is working. So both servers are working, right? So now the both servers are working. So go back. So this you have the two EC2 instances with you. These are the two. One is a primary server, another is a secondary server. So let's say how we can just configure failover routing policy with the route 53. So first of all, just open a duplicate session. And I'm also opening GoDaddy here, right? But before that, just open route 53. You will be opening the route 53. I think that hosted zone already is created. So let me check the hosted zone. The hosted zone is existing. Yes, the hosted zone is existing. So that day we already created the hosted zone. So we will not create the hosted zone again, right? So we have the hosted zone. So what we have to create first, we have to create a health check for my primary server. So just create health check for the primary server. Click on create health check and just do write, let's say primary server health check. Okay. And what is the IP address of the primary server? You just go there, just click on primary server, copy the public IP address of the primary server, select the primary server's IP address, and go back here and just paste the primary server. So you want to check the health of this server, right? So this is the server. And now you can just click on next, nothing else. You do not want to create any alarm here. Create health check. So this is the health check. So you will stay here because right now the status of the machine, the status of the health check is unknown. It usually take 2 to 3 minutes time, minimum 2 to 3 minutes times to give you a precise information about the health check, right? So you will wait here. So once it is okay, once it is healthy, then we will move for the further configuration. So we are here. Let me see. So this is the public IP address of the instance. You need to check the health check of this. So if the health check is correct, it means it will deliver the website from the primary server. In case if the health check is not proper or the health check is not okay, in that case, it will deliver the services from the secondary server, right? So we have to see it, and you can see, can you see the primary server health check is now healthy? It means your primary server is working fine, right or not? Your primary server is right. And this is the name of the health check, primary server health check. Now you will go to the hosted zone. And first of all, this is the hosted zone we already created last time. And this is the domain name. And we need to check actually, let's say you click on this. So you need to check these name servers. We just copied already in my GoDaddy, right? So you will go and copy and say the notepad. Okay. So these are the name servers, and you'll go and just open my products. In my products, we have avatartechnologies.in. This is the domain name I'm using. Okay. So you go to, first of all, manage a domain, and here we go. You go to manage domain again, manage DNS again. So what you have to do, you have to see the number of NS servers that you find in GoDaddy should be same as of this the number of servers listed I here, copied from AWS, right? These are the named servers. Can you match? Are these same? Are these same? Yes or no? Are these name servers are same?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So we have not to do anything with the GoDaddy. Now come back. So first of all, you'll go there in you are in a hosted zone, right? So you are in avatartechnologies.in hosted zone. We have only NS server and start of a 30 server. So we have to create a record. And this time I'm using a routing policy. What kind of a routing policy you are using? You are using failover routing policy. Just understand. And the record type is A. The record type is A. So we have the list of records here, but you have to choose the record type A. And this is your domain name. And what is the primary server's IP address here? You go to the primary server and just copy the IP address here and go back and paste the IP address here. Paste the IP address here, right? You paste the IP address, and one more thing. And this is the failover. And what is the failover record type? It's a primary server, right? It's a primary server. It's a primary server. And what health check you want to include with the primary server? What health check you need to connect with the primary server? If you click here, automatically this health check will appear. And the health check name was primary server health check. Just select it. And the record type, let's say it's a primary. And you add another record here. Now you will add a record for the secondary failover. Okay, you just add one more record. Again, the server record type is A. You need to type, you need to type IP address of the secondary server. Go to the secondary server and choose the public IP address of the secondary server. Come back to root 53 and paste the IP address here, right? And this you are using failover routing policy. In a failover routing policy, the failover record type is secondary this time. And health check you will not take for the secondary one. For health check for the secondary is not needed. And here you will write secondary. So this way, both records are configured properly. You did define the IP addresses. If first fails, this automatically it will deliver services from the second server. So you go there and just create record. So can you see? Now you have two failover records. The one is a primary record and another is a secondary record, correct? So, and these are the public IP address of your servers. And these are the domain names. These are the domain name will remain same. And this is a A type record, correct? So it is done. So it is done. And it means now if you are using this record name, I'm just typing in chat box. You please let me know, are you able to access application or not? This is the avatartechnologies.in, the URL I shared with you. I've shared this URL with you. You please let me know, are you able to find anything?
Yeah.
On your screen?
Yeah, it's opening.
Yes. So it is delivering the services from the primary server. Am I correct or not? It is delivering the services from the primary server. What if, means what shall I do in order to check whether the failover is working or not? Anybody, what shall I do in order to check whether the secondary is working or not? We will stop the service. We will not stop the instance. We will stop the service, right? We will stop the service. You go to the instance here. Let's say you are a primary server. You are in a primary server. Take the remote of this instance and just stop the HTTP service. Let me see the HTTP. If the HTTP service is not there, definitely it will not deliver. So it should be considered as unhealthy, right? So you can just write sudo systemctl and stop HTTPD. Will it be working? Let me see. It will take a little time because the service is running. It will show you. The service will be stopped in a minute. Now, I think it's taking, usually it doesn't take much time. Let me see. So how much time is taking? So the command is correct. Sudo systemctl stop HTTPD. So you stopped the service, right? So it's why it's taking too much time. One more enter. It's saying that the 2 package needed for security out of 5 available. Run sudo yum update. Oh, great. The service has been stopped. If you write sudo system ctl status of HTTPD, what is the status? The status is inactive. The service is inactive. If the service is inactive, what about the health check? You go back to the health check, right? You go back to the health check, and this is the health check. On Route 53, left-hand side, you can see health check. Click on health check. And health check will also take little time here to update. And once it is unhealthy, it will route the traffic to your secondary instance or secondary server. So still the service according to the health check is healthy. So it does update now. This is unhealthy. Very nice, very nice. Now, according to this, according to health check, your primary instance is unhealthy. Did you see that? According to health check, your primary instance is unhealthy because you stopped the service HTTPD. What will happen? What will happen? So if this is unhealthy, and if you run avatartechnologies.in, the domain name again, if you hit the URL again, this time you should get a response from the secondary server. Now we just move to another concept of routing policy, and it is known as geolocation routing policy. So what is a geolocation routing policy? As the name is specifying, geolocation. Geolocation means the client could be in a different geolocation. Your client could be in America, your client could be in London, your client could be in the UAE, your client could be in India, your client could be in South Africa, right? Okay, so what ultimately we are needing from this routing policy, from geolocation routing policy. So let me show you what exactly we are seeking here. Let me show you. Okay, let's say geolocation routing policy. Geolocation routing policy. So geolocation routing policy. So in the geolocation routing policy, we can have multiple servers, but the domain will remain same. We have a multiple servers, and these multiple servers are running applications in a different regional languages. So when you use geolocation routing policy, you can localize your content and present some or all of your websites in the language of your users. Means, let's say you have some people in USA, right? So you have some clients in USA. They want to see the website in English. Just understand. They want to see the website in English. You have some people in, let's say, in India. You have some people in India, and they want to see the website in Hindi. Any one of you from outside India right now? Any one of you outside India? No one? No. So you're all from India?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No issue. So let's say we have one more. Let's say I'm taking France. Like, let's say some people are in France and they want to see the content of the website in French. Okay. But the problem is, what is not a problem actually, what I have a challenge, but the domain name will remain same. So what I will do, for every geolocation, I will create a separate server. I will create a separate server. I will create a one server for, let's say, English, one server for Hindi, and one server for my French people. And the domain name will remain same, right? Are you getting me? by the domain name. What is the domain name, by the way? So this is the domain name, but the domain name will remain same. You go back and just paste it here. So this is the domain name. So if you hit this domain name, if you hit this URL or the domain name from anywhere from the world, but if you are in the USA, you will see the website in English, right? If you are in India, you will see the website in Hindi automatically. And if you are in France, you will see the website in French. So this is a kind of thing that you can manage using geolocation routing policy. So this is an ultimate good thing, means you can route the traffic according on the basis of your client location. So the client location, we have a US, India, and let's say France. So my product is basically, I'm selling my product in these 3 countries, for example, right? So how I can just do it, because you cannot check it now because you are in India. So you will see the page only in Hindi. You will see page in Hindi because you all are in India. It will automatically grab your location from your IP address, and it will route your traffic to Indian router or an Indian server, Indian server. While people who are in USA, they can see their website in, let's say, in English, and the people are in France, they can see the website in French. So I'm taking only 2 servers here because we have 2 servers. The first of all, I have to remove the earlier, means the prior configuration. Let's say we have 2 servers. Let's say I'm taking 2 servers here. One is in English and another is in Hindi. And so I'm just coming back. The first of all, we are deleting both these records here. Health check is perfect. The health check is my perfect. So we are coming back, let's say the hosted zone, and both machines must be started. So what I'm doing, I'm going to the primary machine here, and I need to start its services, right? I need to start the services of the primary instance. Okay, so you just write sudo systemctl start and httpd. Will it work? Right. And now you can see status systemctl status httpd. This is perfect. This is running. You can see in the green color. Now the service is active and running. So you just close it and you just go back. And if you see this this route 53 health check, so still the health check is now it is becoming green. It is becoming green. It is becoming green means now it is healthy, right? No, it is unhealthy. It is unhealthy. It is showing unhealthy. Sorry. It is showing unhealthy. 30 minutes ago, it was healthy. So it is still showing unhealthy. So we have to stay here for a few minutes, and it will show you the current status of the server. So you can specify geographic location by content or by country or by state. If you are creating separate records for overlapping geographic regions, so in that case, this is a good, means so you can create a record, you can create a multiple record for every geolocations, and it depends on the number of servers you have. Let's say we have the 2 servers for the 2 different geolocations for 2 different languages. So we will create 2 records here in geo-routing policy. So this allows you to route some queries for a continent to our resource. So let me see, is it done? No, it is unhealthy, still unhealthy. It should not take much time. Let me check whether this primary instance is working or not. So let me check. and this is the IP address. And let me check. It's working. Yeah, the primary instance is working. So it is taking a usual time. So once it is done, it will start routing from the primary instance, right? So it will automatically come to the primary instance once it is healthy. Why it is taking too much time? It should not take more than 2-3 minutes time. Few things are out of control actually, right? Healthy. I can see now the status is healthy. Hello? Now you can see the status is healthy. If the status is healthy, you go back to avatartechnologies.in and press enter. You will be able to just take from your primary server, failover primary server. Now you're getting response from the failover primary server. Good. You came back. Now, what I'm doing, I'm just going to delete those failover records. So first of all, delete these failover records in your hosted zone. So the total 4 records I have. So I'm deleting these failover records. So I selected these 2 failover records and I'm deleting these records. So these records are deleted. So again, you have these 2 default records, NS record and startup authority. Now, let's say I'm just changing the content. Let's say this is the primary server. Let's say I'm saying this India server. You go to tag and how to do it, manage tag. This called, let's say India server. Let's say this is the India server in Hindi, right? And it should be in Hindi. Of course, I'm not writing Hindi here. But and the second is let's say the US server in English, US server, USA server in English, right? Let's say you're offering your services in these 2 countries, and we need to just little change the content. We need to change the content. So first of all, change the content. You will see the same content over there. Okay, just write sudo su hyphen and write where www and html, and here we go. You can just write echo, and this was your which, so this was which machine you started? Which machine you started? Was it India server Hindi? It was India server Hindi, right? It was the India server Hindi. You can write, this is my Hindi server. Let's say I'm just writing like this, so you can have some idea from where you are getting response. India, sorry, index.html, right? Here you're getting. So good, you're going back. You're going back, and let's say, and now you just go to US server, connect US server. Here you go, and just write sudo su hyphen. Good. And you need to change directory where www and html. Good. And just writing echo, this is my USA server in English. Okay, and you're just storing You're storing in index.html. Nice. I think this is done. There should not be any change now. This is good. So both servers are accordingly are changed. So if you read this IP address, let's say what you're getting in Hindi. Very fine, very fine. This is my Hindi server. And the second server you have is English server. And you are just writing this one. Yes, this is my US server in English. Good, good, good. But unfortunately, you cannot test it. You will see only Hindi server because you are in India, right? So this way, so you will find that you can access region specific server. Okay. Go back to this hosted zone. And now we have two default types, name server and start of authority records. So we need to create a record this time. And this time we need to record a record, of course. The record type will remain same, a record, right? But in this routing policy, we will choose geolocation routing policy. You are choosing the geolocation routing policy. And for which particular location, let's say you want to see the IP address, first of all, we need to copy the IP address of India server. So this is the India server, right? You will paste the IP address of India server and you will choose the location. In location, you will choose India. Just write India. This is the India, right? So you chose India and just in the record, you can just write India. And this is done. Add another record here. Click on another record. And here you go. And here the type of the record will remain A. And this time you are going to type US server. This is the US server. Copy the public IP address of US server and paste the IP address here and go down. Routing policy is geolocation. And in the location, you will use United States. Where is the United States? United States, United States. Where is the United States? Okay, I'm just writing United States. United States. Yeah, this is the United States. Okay, and you are writing USA here. And just create both the records. So you mentioned both the records. This way you can mention 10, 20, 15, 30. It's up to you. So the same domain name on a different region can open a website on the desired language, right? On your desired language, just create the record here. Now this is done. This is done. And here we go. This is India. This is United States. And this domain name will remain same. So can you hit the domain name now? Do you have the domain name? Hello? You have the domain name? I'm writing the domain name again. If you hit the domain name again in as a URL, what do you see? Do you see Hindi server? Do you see Hindi server line?
Yes.
Yeah, because you are in India. If you would have been in USA, you see the different, you could have seen the different page, right? So, but you are watching the page in Hindi because you are in India. So this way the geolocation routing policy can be worked. Correct or not?
Yeah.
Good. So this is the geolocation routing policy. Now we are just coming back. So we need to delete these two records here. We are not needing now. So we are deleting the records. So you are deleting the records. So what I'm just trying to explain, this is very easy to just configure if you have a idea clear. If you have a clear idea, you can very easily configure it. Now another is the weighted routing policy. Weighted routing policy, how you can apply the weighted routing policy. So the weighted routing policy is to basically distribute a traffic in terms of ratio. To configure the weighted routing policy, you can create records that have the same name and type for the each of your resource. Let me tell you what exactly you can do. Let's say here you go. Let me start. This is the load balancer, ELB. This is the load balancer, right? This is route 53. Okay. Okay. And you have the instances. You have the instances, right? This way. I'm just telling you, it's very simple. It's not difficult actually. This is very simple. The only thing is you will not use you will use multiple instances here. Let's say you have the two regions in your AWS account. You have two regions and you have the two load balancers into, as you know, specific, you must be knowing the load balancer is a region specific, yes or no? And this load balancer, for example, has some number of instances here, right? And this load balancer also has number of instances. You can just go and copy. You can go here, you can just copy here. And this load balancer is connected like this. Like this. Okay. And this is the route policy. So this routing, this route 53 can be connected with the different region load balancers to route the traffic. So this is a region 1. This is a region 1. Let me show you. Yes. And this is a region 2. This is the route policy. And which route policy we are using here? We are using weighted routing policy. We are using weighted routing policy. We are using a weighted routing policy to distribute traffic between load balancers. And these are running in different regions. So this is a good example of cross-region load balancing. Cross-region load balancing. You can use this kind of architecture. You can use this kind of an architecture to distribute the load between two load balancers running in two different regions. And not only this, you can share the traffic. You can share the traffic between 1 to 255. 1 is a minimum traffic and 255 is a maximum traffic. 1 to 255 traffic, right? So this way, you can share the traffic 1 to 255. And during the configuration, you can specify this number, right? So we should, what is recommended, we should share the traffic in such a way that the total sum of the traffic should not be more than 255. For example, if you are choosing here, for example, if you are choosing 100 here, so you should not choose more than 155 here, right? So it means the total sum of the 100 and 255 should not be more than 255. And if you are putting here 0, it means no traffic. And if you are putting 1, it's a minimum traffic. If you are putting 255, it's maximum traffic. So it means you can distribute the traffic here. So some traffic is going to left-hand side and some traffic is going to the right-hand side. So between regions, you can actually specify the traffic this way using these numbers. So by the way, if you go to here again, let's say you have the two load balancers. Let's say I'm showing the one load balancer here, right? So let's say I'm creating a one load balancer using these two machines. Go there in the load balancer, and let's say this is the load balancer. Simple, create a load balancer. Let's say application load balancer you're creating. Let's say this is ALB I'm taking, and this is the internet facing load balancer. And let's say all these subnets I'm taking, I don't know in which VPC or in which subnet my machine is running. So if you have an idea, you can select those only subnets. And a security group to be needed. The security group is needed actually for your load balancer. Yeah, this is the web server. I'm taking this one. And here the port number 80 is allowed, but you don't have any target groups. You go to target group, just create the target group for as an instances here. Write the name of the target group, target GRP01, let's say. And you are choosing next. And here we have the two instances. You will select these two instances and include as pending below. So these instances are taken, and just go to the target group. So the target group is done. Go back, and here you will refresh it, and you just created a target group. You can see it. Now you took the target group and simply just create the load balancer. The load balancer is done, right? Where's the load balancer? There's the load balancer. And this is the DNS of the load balancer, or you can say the endpoint of the load balancer. It is provisioning. It is not yet completed. Okay. So how to connect this load balancer with a weighted routing policy, that I want to show you. So you go to, let's say, route 53. And here we select the create record, and we are choosing here weighted routing policy. We are choosing here weighted routing policy. For example, I'm taking only one. So this way you can create two records. You must have the two load balancers in two different regions. So I just created only one load balancer to just show the configuration here. And what, because the load balancer has no public IP address. Just understand, the load balancer has no public IP address. The load balancer has only DNS or the endpoint of the load balancer. So what you will do, you will go back, and here we have an alias button here. Do you see we have an alias button here? You will click on alias button, and you will choose the endpoint. So what endpoint you want to choose? I want to choose the endpoint of application load balancer. So this is the application classic load balancer, right? And here the region is North Virginia. My load balancer is in North Virginia. So you will choose North Virginia. Where is the North Virginia? This is the North Virginia. Here we go. And do you see the load balancer? Yes, this is the dual stack load balancer. So we have the load balancer, and we are choosing the weighted routing policy, and you need to define the weight. I told you the weight should be between 1 and 255. So let's say you are putting 100 here. You are putting 100 here, and just go down, and let's say your record 01, and you created it. Done. It is done. So you only created one. You created this configuration with the one load balancer. You can include multiple load balancers as well, but the total addition of this number should not be more than 255. If you have more than 3, 5, or 6, whatever, how many load balancers you can take. So you can take any number of load balancers. So this is not as restricted here. So by the way, this is your record name. You go there and just read it. Can you see it here? It is accessible. So you can try. Is it accessible? We don't have any. We don't have actually another route. So that's why we are showing. It is showing the one only. Okay. By the way, this was the configuration of the weighted routing policy. We have the latency routing policy as well. So the latency routing policy means you will configure the similar kind of servers in the same zone or in a same region to provide the high availability. That's all. So these are the some routing policies. The most important was the simple failover, geolocation, and a weighted routing policy. And please try to just repeat all these hands-on your own. And I think you can easily do it. Very easily you can do it. Right? Okay. So what we have done, we need to delete all these configuration. We are deleting all these configuration. The first of all, just delete the load balancer. You delete the load balancer where this is a load balancer. Delete it. The load balancer is gone. Now select the target group. Delete the target group. It will be deleted, right? And now you go to instances and you can either terminate the instance or you can stop the instance. Let's say I'm just stopping these instances. Right, I'm stopping these instances and you go back and here we go and we need to delete this record. We need to delete this record. So it is done. Okay. So guys, please do all these hands-on with you, means to practice. Bye-bye.